Okay, we're here with another shorter one and another theory and one of my ideas. And so this one's going to be the endurance overclocking stack. I did the hormone overclocking stack. I thought I'd stick with the same theme and now do the endurance overclocking stack. So this was just an idea I had and theory I had when I first started getting into all this biology stuff. And I thought I'd just share it, because why not? And it's pretty interesting. And so this stack is going to consist of two compounds, ibutamorin, also known as MK677, and then Cardarine, also known as GW501516. And before I dive in, I want to make the disclaimer that this stack is going to be for increased endurance, increased recovery, raised IGF-1, raised HGH, fat burning, but not for muscle mass. This stack is for endurance athletes who want to focus on endurance, who don't want to play around with any sort of androgen pathways. So the first thing I want to do is contrast both of these, because I believe that if you're going to have a stack, everything in the stack should be synergistic with each other. There's no point, nobody mixes compounds that aren't synergistic and that are actually dangerous to mix, so a stack has to be synergistic, and these ones are. It was the first one that I kind of came up with the theory, I guess you could say, for. But MK677, if you watch from the hormone overclocking video, is a growth hormone secretagogue that antagonizes the ghrelin receptor, which is responsible for appetite and growth hormone release. So ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and when ghrelin binds to your hypothalamus and pituitary, the ghrelin receptors, it causes a growth hormone release. So MK677 is a ghrelin mimetic, and it's going to do just that. Cardarine is a PPAR delta agonist, and the PPAR delta receptor is responsible for energy sources, glucose control, and fat oxidation. And so when you take Cardarine, and it antagonizes the PPAR delta receptor, as you see here from this study that I'll link below, it changes the body's fuel preference from glucose to lipids. So what that's going to do is have more stable energy levels, because you're on lipids, not glucose. So your glucose isn't spiking and dropping throughout the day, which is what happens for most people naturally. And that happens because, insulin drops as well. Mental clarity is often reported with switching to lipids versus glucose. And then lipolysis, or fat breakdown, not sure if I said that right, but fat breakdown happens as well. And so MK677, the cons are obviously decreased insulin sensitivity, increased hunger, lethargy, and water retention. And so the decreased insulin sensitivity is probably the number one side effect that everybody looks out for. And I'll comment on that and why these two are synergistic. And the cons of Cardarine are it's not well studied in humans. And then I highlighted this one, the rat study, because it's important to talk about. But to summarize super quickly, the rat study was a study conducted on Cardarine, where they gave Cardarine to rats, and the rats pretty much developed a ton of cancer and died. Now, it's a super controversial study. A lot of people believe that it wasn't done right, that they were given huge doses. And that's why I'm not advocating for the use of Cardarine, and this is just a theory. But you should definitely look into the rat study, watch a video about it, and formulate your own opinion. But from, human anecdotal reports, they say that, if you don't go above 20 milligrams a day, you're usually fine. You can have the benefits from it, and there's no cancer side effects. However, that's not me telling you to do it. Do your own research on Cardarine. It's very important that you do and form your own opinion. Now, the pros of each, the pros of MK677, obviously why most people use it: the increased growth hormone release, increased recovery, increased hunger, increased IGF-1, and fat oxidation. And Cardarine also has fat oxidation, increased endurance, and then increased insulin sensitivity. So that increased insulin sensitivity from the insulin drop happens obviously because your body switches fuel sources, but that's going to combat the decreased insulin sensitivity from MK677. And depending on your goals, increased hunger is either a pro or a con, but there's ways to get around that just based off if you take it in the morning, that would be for hunger and for bulking, or at night to skip the hunger for cutting. And so this is why it's meant for endurance athletes, is because the Cardarine is going to increase endurance, give you more energy, more mental clarity. And then the MK677 is going to have that IGF-1 and growth hormone for recovery, which, as you see in a study here that I'll also link below, says that in older adults, treatment with MK677 was associated with nearly a 50% increase in REM sleep and a decrease in REM latency. So IGF-1 has also been shown to, just the hormone itself has been shown to help circadian rhythm and enhance slow wave sleep. So your sleep will end up being more restorative, which is a big thing for athletes. And together, you should expect to get leaner due to MK677 and Cardarine's fat burning effects, which are going to be synergistic. You're going to have better endurance, and then on top of that, better recovery due to the human growth hormone and IGF-1 release. So that's about it for this. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try my best to answer them. Let me know if I missed anything or if I should add on at all. I just wanted to keep it super simple and show that these two compounds could be pretty synergistic together and could just be a nice stack for somebody who isn't looking to play around with androgens and simply just wants a little boost.